Hi, my name is William Lane. Today I will be presenting on the flour tortilla. So some history of the flour tortilla. It was actually a main energy source for the indigenous people of South America. Torta actually interprets to as round cake. February 24th is a National Tortilla Day, and the average Mexican family consumes over 2 pounds of tortilla a day. So let's begin by talking about making the flour tortilla and the ingredients you're going to need. You're going to need 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/3 cup of butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of hot water. Step one, you want to mix the flour, the baking powder, and teaspoon of salt and the 1/3 cup of butter into a bowl. Step two, you want to slowly add the hot water while mixing with your offhand until you get to a nice, good doughy consistency. So this is going to take around like 5 minutes. You want to keep mixing pretty much until there's really no dough sticking to your hand, and it can be molded pretty easy, form into a ball and whatnot. Next, you're going to want to knead the dough for 10 minutes. This is going to be probably the hardest part of this recipe because it is time consuming and it can get tiring. It's pretty much like folding a blanket over and over again. So you want to do that for 10 minutes. After you do that, you want to roll the dough into 12 equally sized balls by hand, and you're going to want to place them in a bowl. Now, of course, here you can adjust the recipe a little bit if you want. If you want to make a bigger tortilla, you can make 6 balls. It really depends on how big you want to make your tortilla. But for this recipe, I like to stick to just making 12 equally sized balls. But it's up to you. Next, we're going to want, after we roll the balls and we put them in the bowl, we're going to want to put a damp towel over the ball. We're going to want to let the dough rest in the fridge for about 10 minutes. So just a lightly damp, not a super soaked paper towel, just lightly damp, place it on top, place it in the fridge for about 10 minutes. On this step, after the dough is rested, you're going to want to make sure that the surface that you're going to roll the dough out on, you want to make sure that you're going to want to have it floured. That way the dough is not sticking to the surface, it's not sticking to the roller pin, because this can be quite annoying if you miss this step. So make sure you flour the surface well before you begin to roll, and we'll see a picture of that on the next slide. So here you can see I have the roller pin, I have it floured, I have the surface floured where I'm rolling, and basically you want to put the tortilla ball on the cutting board or whatever surface you use. I use the cutting board in my example, or how I did it, and you want to roll it out. Now you can see I have a decent circle going on here, but I've done this before a few times before I actually took this picture. So a lot of the times my tortilla didn't really look like a circle. It was oddly shapen, but just do your best, and with practice, by the time you get to your 12th ball, if you do the whole recipe and make all tortillas, you'll probably find a technique or develop some kind of technique, to get your tortilla well made. And you want to roll it out to a pretty thin layer, a couple centimeters. As you can see, mine's a little bit thick, but again, on this step too, it's up to your preference. If you like a thicker tortilla, you can, you don't have to roll it out as thin, but I like to get it as thin as I can. I feel that it cooks faster and it cooks better, and just my preference, I like a thinner tortilla. But again, up to you. So on this step, we want to pull off that tortilla that we rolled out, and we want to place it on our pan. We want our pan to be medium to high heat, and we're going to place it on there. And if you can see in the picture, it's kind of hard to tell, but you can start to see, air bubble pockets forming on tortilla. So this is a good sign when you want to flip the tortilla and cook the other side. And this can take, between 1 to 2 minutes on each side. It really depends on how hot you have it. But if you have it too hot, you're more likely to burn the tortilla before it actually cooks all the way through on the other side. So you might come out with a tostada. So try to avoid that, because we're trying to make a flour tortilla, not a tostada here, even though, that obviously has to be fried, but just saying. So step 10, you want to take the tortilla off the pan and enjoy it. Make it, eat it plain, put some cheese in it, make a quesadilla, burrito, tacos, whatever you want to do. But the tortilla at this point is done. This is an ideal picture of what the tortilla should look like. And this is, where you want to just start eating and enjoying it. And lastly, some feedback from one of my friends, Lucero, and my daughter, Laura. Lucero says it's pretty good, but she likes quesadillas, so she wants to try it in a quesadilla. And for my daughter, Laura, good, but I want it more burnt. She loves her tortillas burnt for some odd reason. Thank you for listening.